Hello and welcome. This is video 100 here on my channel, and I did a little poll on YouTube and I got an answer of what this video should be about. And the answer is horses, which is my favorite subject, so I was more than happy to oblige. So don't get super excited quite yet. I will be working with a horse, but I don't have a horse in my backyard here in town, so I'm using the next best thing, which is models. So I have two models I'm going to show you today. Each have their own pros and cons. First, I'm going to show you the newer of the two models, which is Hobo. He is based off of a character in a Marguerite Henry book. I can't remember the title, but I'll put it like down here for you. It's something to do with, I think it's Mustang's Spirit of the West or something like that. So this one is a beautifully crafted, sculpted model. You can see all the muscles, all the anatomy, all the things. He's just very beautifully done and painted. And the other one, I actually got this one at an antique store out in Sisters, Oregon. I found him. This is Smokey. He is Smokey the cow horse from a book series by Will James. He was a cowboy poet, not poet. He was a cowboy author and illustrator. I loved his books, and I was really excited when I found this. I actually handmade this little Bozell hackamore, and I put it on him because I thought it looked really cute. So we got two Mustangs. I'm going to show you how I would like a horse to draw and paint from, and I'm going to do a little gouache study of one of these guys. And so let's find out which one I will do, shall we? So I've got my horses, a ring light, palette, gouache, paintbrushes, water, sketchbook. I put up a board so that I have a nice clean backdrop. I have this ring light that I've plugged in. I'm going to position this. Probably won't paint this guy. I'll probably paint Smokey. So we're going to put him to the side. So we got Smokey here. And the thing about painting from life is all about the lighting. You can make it really dramatic. Like if it's high noon, this would be good lighting for like high noon or like sunset or sunrise. Just playing around with the lighting you want. Let's see. You can move your subject around. Closer, further from the light source. I think I like this. It's kind of like dramatic lighting. But I think I like this. Let me show you from a different angle. Check out how dramatic the lighting is. You can kind of see some highlights catching along his back, leg, his barrel, definitely his face in the front. So I think I'm going to do this lighting. It's very dramatic, but I think it's really cool. I think this will make for a really neat little study in gouache. And if you want to see a little video about this painting, check out my Patreon. It's any tier. You can see the whole process to doing this painting and reclaiming this spread in my sketchbook from a painting that I did that I didn't like. So I'm going to start with this toned page. It's white acrylic with some watercolor paint over it to tone it down. And I'm going to start with this for my sketch. So I have my horse. I might even do just his face. I don't have to do his whole body unless I want to. So this is going to be a study. It's going to be, I'll do my best to do it pretty quick and do it imperfect. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just kind of thinking how I want him to be. I'm just going to do his face. So when I look at a horse's head, I like to break down all of my shapes into big basic shapes. So I kind of do the horses, the front of their face, front plane, like a kite or a diamond. And with model horses, you kind of have to do some leniency. You kind of do your own creative way because it'll be not quite real. You kind of have to add your own life into it. I'm just using a mechanical pencil to get all the outline, the shape in. And if I wanted to erase anything, I would actually use a kneaded eraser, because this is harder to erase. It'd more smudge with like a rubber eraser. A kneaded eraser kind of lifts the paint off versus rubs it off. And get my little bozelle that I made. Have a bozelle more on the horse versus on the horse. So I'm going to grab a kneaded eraser. You don't need to have it very big. And I'm just going to kind of lift the really unnecessary lines. I really like to sketch out my horses and other things, break it down into big beefy chunks, and then go through and refine the drawing. It kind of smudges the graphite, which isn't the end of the world. No biggie. So like I said at the beginning, this is video number 100. I've done a lot of watercolor, some gouache from April. Did my Plan April series. And so I figured, well, I might as well do gouache. These are new colors. Not new colors, I mean, these paints are new to me. These are by Holbein. They are new to me. I have flame red, peacock blue, burnt sienna, permanent yellow, primary white, and primary black. Will I use all these colors? I'm not sure. Actually, probably not flame red. But these are all new colors to me. So I got my basic sketch in. The paint brushes I'm using, they are the Sarah Burns and Craftimo collaboration. I have some of her flat brushes I want to use today. I got the 1/4 inch, 3/8, and 3/4 inch flat brushes today we'll be using. So let's get started. I need to do some paint. I know I will definitely need white. And then I will need black. Black is a little runny. Not too bad. Need some burnt sienna. And then I'm going to use the peacock blue. Hopefully that'll help me get a bluish gray color. So I'm going to use, let's see, this is the 3/8 brush. Let's see what happens. I'm going to get some of the darks in. Get some more water in my brush. I want it to be like a lighter layer, I'm thinking. And I could just leave this tone paper as a background, since it's kind of just like a little study, little follow along of this is how I would paint a horse from life, but not life. I like to block in the darks, kind of like a roadmap of where things are going. Get a little bit of the white. Gray it down. Yeah, that makes a nice gray. Some of the blue and the black and the white I got going. So some more shadows. This is on the body of the horse. And with gouache, it's okay to be a little runny when you first start, because you can build up the opacity. So the layers that have less water in them, you can build it up. And on the model, what I see is there's some reflected light on the horse, so it's reflecting off of the white table. So I want to make sure to get that too. So when you draw or paint, it, I think, is really about capturing shadows and the highlights. It's about depicting the different parts of shadows. So along the top here, there's a seam, and so it's causing a shadow where there shouldn't be a shadow along here. So I'm going to ignore that shadow. And his ears are catching the light. Some more of the highlights. I feel like this is getting to be a pretty good first pass on this painting. Some more of the dark in here. I can even paint with like the corner of my brush, since it's a more or less decent size flat brush. I can paint with the corner of it too. Get some more of these defining muscle characteristics. I could even paint him without the hackamore, but I think I will. Because sometimes understanding how to have the tack on a horse and making it look like it's on it versus just sitting on it is an important thing to understand and learn. So I got my first pass, still kind of wet. So clean up my brush. And this is where I'll go in with like a heavier, more opaque coat of paint. Yeah, I like a little bit of blue in there. And more white. Blue is very potent, it looks like, though. More white. Old smoky blue horse. So this gouache is an artist gouache. Even after it's dry, you could still reactivate it with some water. So that's important to keep that in mind. So I'm just going to go through and touch the areas where I want it this color. And I can even come back through and do more of the highlights later. His nose is a little funny on this model, but I think that'll be okay. I have an understanding of horses pretty well. Next shade. Yeah, that blue is very, very vibrant. It just stains it pretty much, the paint. There we go. See little stripes of blue in there. Kind of blend the colors together a little bit. Little dry brush action. Dry brushing is where your paintbrush isn't really like super full of water, so it's pretty dry. There we go. Like how that's blending out. And like I said earlier, you know, I'm not gonna focus on it being perfect. It's just a study, something I'm working on to improve, and this is studying the anatomy of a horse by working on the shadows, the light hitting the horse, its anatomy. And I think to make something 3D, you need to have at least 3 things. You need a highlight, a mid-tone, and a shadow, the dark. And that will help make things that you're drawing or painting look more 3D. Kind of using my paintbrush as like a shovel, scooping up the paint. Just getting this paint off the brush and onto the paper. There we go. Get some more of that dark. Build up some of the muscle tone. And I love Breyer horses. I mean, I grew up with them, but I feel like the people who sculpt them really know anatomy. I mean, not all Breyer horses are created equal when it comes to this. Well, like that. That's nice. But even if you can't get out and see a real horse to draw or paint from, I'd say this would be like a close second, honestly. And it's important to draw and paint from life because this is why I think it's important. Because when you draw and paint from life versus a photograph, so if you think of it this way, a photograph is taking something 3-dimensional and flattening it for you. And when you draw from life, be it a model or, you know, from life, a real live thing. I mean, there's still life, so this would be constituted as a still life. You are taking something that is 3-dimensional and you are flattening it. Let me say that again. You are taking something 3-dimensional and flattening it and making it your own. That is why I feel that it is important to draw from life, paint from life, as in you are looking at something and you are the one making it flat. You are creating the scene yourself. Because you are learning how to create something your own way. I think that's really important for people who are interested in drawing and painting. Does it have to be perfect? No. But it is yours. Your own version, your own perception of something. And that is important. No one else is going to do it exactly the same as you. That is important. It has your own spin on it, and that is important. So that's why I believe it's important to draw and paint from life as much as humanly possible, if you can. Even if it is setting up your own still life like this and doing a lot of observing Observing is very important when it comes to art. The art of looking and then putting it down on paper or canvas or whatever you want to do it. Digital drawings, all the same but different ways. And that is art, your own way of seeing things. Playing around today with some more chunky brush strokes. I usually like to make things really nice and kind of smooth, but I want to play around with some more textures. Let's see here. Get some more of this going. So, I hope this video is interesting for you. Even if you don't like horses, I hope you take a nugget from it that you learn. Even, me talking about the importance of observing from life and then flattening it yourself. I think that's important because you learn. Even if you're not a horse person, you can still take this information and apply it to how it will benefit you the most. It's not about learning big things. I believe when you learn, it's better to take little nuggets that help you versus big, overwhelming concepts. It's more important to take little nuggets that help you on your journey. My first college art teacher, he told me to stop with the horse thing. I saw that as a challenge accepted. But what he really, years later, he said what he really meant to say, or meant for me to hear, is to do things other than just horses. And then you will get better overall. I mean, everyone wants to get better, right? So, I do more than just horses now. Not all of my videos are all about horses. Maybe they should be. Horse girls unite. Once a horse girl, always a horse girl, honestly. But doing other things will make you better at the thing you love to do the most. Here I am doing an impression of a model horse, more or less. I think he's come along pretty good. Maybe I'll just use this paintbrush for the entire painting. Sometimes I like to challenge myself to do that. I should have actually started with the larger size and challenged myself with that, but the thing is, if you don't challenge yourself, who will? Who will challenge you? We're not all in school. We are in YouTube University, or watching things because we have some downtime, we want to relax, check out what someone's making. So, yeah. Let's see if I can finish this guy up. So I'm making some shadows on him so that when I do the hackamore, it'll look like it's on his face versus just overlapping his face. Doing a very light touch to try and blend out this darker color. Looking at the shadows, trying to capture that. He's come along pretty good though. Let's get some more black. Let's get some burnt sienna in there actually. Warm it up a little bit. Some subtle color shifts. And with gouache, you really don't want to introduce a lot of water to the paint, but I think it's helpful sometimes to help the paint flow a little better. I mean, it's not as much as I would with watercolors, of course. Try and get more water out of my brush to blend out a little bit. You have to be careful when you're doing this because you can actually just lift the paint off your paper. Get some more of those really deep darks in there. You want to make sure you have enough color shifts. So the nostril is going to be nice and dark. His mouth line will be dark. This corner down here is going to be dark. His mane here, and then his eyeball. Let's get that in there. The nice thing about gouache versus watercolor is that it's opaque and you can add the white. You don't have to save the white. You don't have to save the white. You can just add it in. Which I will be doing for the highlight of his eye. I got watery color on top of a less watery color, so it's gonna kind of like lift the paint off. Try and dry my brush as much as possible to blend out some of the colors. Get that white in there. Alright, it's time for the hackamore. Get some white for here, some burnt sienna. Oh, that's really bright. Let's get some of that peacock blue and see what happens. And turn it kind of green. Let's get some black. Just playing around mixing the colors. Does it have to be perfect? Absolutely not. I never took those color theory classes in college. I just paint what feels right to me. Is there a wrong way of painting that way? I don't think so. So I'm just using the shape of my brush to the best of my ability. using the corner of the brush as well too. Playing around with the chunky brush strokes. Bozell. So a little handmade version of this isn't exactly like the handmade real life version. So I'm just kind of changing it up a bit to mimic it more. Be a little more slightly realistic. And then part the headstall part. I'll even do a little earpiece. And then the reins. Let's see. This one's going to overlap the body. This one's going to go down here. Get some more white for the part that hits the full sun, or light. I mean, I'm kind of thinking of this as like the sun, kind of more dramatic lighting. Stay true to that if you can. Because that will make it a little bit more believable. Oops. Got some white on his snoot. That's okay. Get some white on the corner of my brush. And I'm going to tone that down a little bit. Get my brush as dry as possible. Lift that up a little bit. Think of the shape of the eye. There we go. Get some more of the dark along here. Be careful not to do too much because you'll start lifting the paint off. So I'm just doing some little shadows to help the headstall sit on his face. He looks like a happy little horse, doesn't he? Happy little horse for video number 100 here on my channel. Happy little horse. Who wouldn't love a happy little horse? Smokey by Will James. If you're a horse girl, I highly suggest Will James. Horse Girl That Reads. Will James, one of my favorite authors other than Marguerite Henry. So I'm just getting some highlights on his mane. Oh my gosh, he's so happy. Happy little pony. Just getting some of these little highlights. He almost looks like a cartoon character. Let's dry this brush really good. Ah, he's so cute. And I'm not bothered by the background being this. So, here he is, y'all. Thank you so much for watching the video today. I hope this has inspired you on your watercolor painting journey. If you have enjoyed it, I would love for you to like this video. And if you haven't subscribed and you want to see more of me, please make sure to subscribe. And if you want to see more about the other page on this spread, on how that was painted, make sure to check out my Patreon. And in the next video, you will see all about the paints. So I got these paints at the Merry Artist for an art haul, and I hope you watch that and get some inspiration from that from art supplies. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.